May the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts be pleasing to you, O God, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. We have two stories about temptation today, but they're also about more than that. They are about identity. Adam and Eve are created by God, made in this amazing way to be humans, made in the image of God. They are given a unique and profound identity. And then they are also given a unique and profound mission to go and till and care for the garden, to take care of God's creation, to be stewards of it. And yet, this great identity and purpose is apparently not quite enough. They don't really seem all that tempted by the forbidden fruit up until the crafty serpent comes to them and says, "Oh, but it will make you like God." And then suddenly it becomes irresistible. They are tempted by a new and alluring, shiny identity to be like God. Not just to be humans made in the image of God, but to be something they hope will be more. Of course, when they try to embrace this new identity and this call that is not meant for them, they are left not with what God has called them to, which is harmony with God, with one another, and with all of creation. They are instead left with shame and with shattered connections. Jesus, too, is given a profound identity just before we drop into the story. He has just been baptized, the Spirit has come upon him, and God has said, "This is my beloved Son." And then the Spirit leads him into the wilderness. And there, the tempter, who is still crafty, attempts to twist this new identity, this identity of the Son of God, into something different, and to tempt Jesus with it. 3 times, he attempts to get Jesus to use his power and identity as the Son of God for personal ego, for personal power, for self-glory, for self-aggrandizement. First, to turn stones into bread, not for the sake of feeding those who are hungry, not even for the sake of truly nourishing himself, but in order to just show his power. And then it's to wrap himself in extraordinary glory, showing off his identity as the Son of God. Look, I can even throw myself off a building and angels will come and hold me up. How amazing am I? And then third, it's to take on all of the political and earthly power in the world and have it as his own. Were Jesus to embrace this identity as the Son of God, it would be a totally different Son of God. One interested in ego, personal power, self-aggrandizement, personal glory. A very different Son of God than what he has been called to. He will indeed use his miraculous power to create bread, but it's bread not just to feed himself, but to feed the hungry. Not just to show off his power, but to meet a human need. And indeed, every time he uses his miraculous power throughout the Gospels after he leaves this wilderness temptation, it is in order to care for others. It is for love of God and love of neighbor. Jesus resists this temptation by leaning in to his identity as the beloved Son of God and into his call to give himself for God, for love of neighbor, and ultimately to give his life for the world. Lutheran pastor Daniel Erlander pictures the scene this way. So this is quite an interpretation of the temptation. We've got Satan giving a Messiah success seminar, suggesting plan A, military force, impressive displays, promised rewards, tried political methods. and consolidate authority and power. And then plan B, vulnerable love and compassion, live and teach dignity, mercy, food for all, get in trouble and die on a cross, trust God for vindication. You can see why plan B maybe wasn't the most alluring. And yet, unlike Adam and Eve, who give in to a false identity that is not meant for them, into this alluring sense of new power, Jesus leans into his true identity as the beloved Son of God, made in order to love humanity, made in order to love God, sent in order to give himself for love of the world. This Lent, we are also invited into a time of reflection, reflecting on what is at our core. Who are we called to be? Because like Adam and Eve, we also are humans made in the image of God. We are beloved creatures of God, beloved children of God. That is the core of who we are to be. We are to be centered in God, our connection to God, and our belovedness as God's children. And we are called, like Adam and Eve, to continue to till the garden, to care for the garden, to care for one another, to restore the world, to grow goodness, to seek the world's flourishing. That is what we are called to. And yet, how often are we tempted, as Adam and Eve were, to put at our center some other identity, to be identified by personal power, by ego, by money, by our possessions, by personal prowess, by something that seems somehow more gratifying than this extraordinary thing of being made in the image of God and being beloved children of God. How often are we tempted to stray away from what is meant to be at our core? But this Lent, we are invited to learn from Jesus, to lean into our true identities as beloved children of God, to lean into our call to live in harmony with God, with one another, and with all of creation. Now, in this fallen world, we're never going to be able to do that perfectly. But with the help and grace of God, we can be more and more like Christ. We can live for love of God and love of neighbor and embrace who we truly are, extraordinary humans made in the image of God, beloved by God, called to love God and neighbor. Amen.